This is Askcarterlaw back again to explain your favorite legal hot topics. Today we'll be giving you the legal explanation and case updates and the MeganTheeStallion shooting with Tory Lanez. We have the disputed evidence in the MeganTheeStallion shooting case where it's alleged that rapper Tory Lanez shot her in a dispute in a vehicle. I'm sure a lot of people have been following this case off and on. At this point, it's been almost 2 years. A lot of people are very confused as to what's happening. And so I'm going to attempt to explain to you what is happening regarding this disputed gun evidence. Obviously, this is still coming to any real conclusion as whether he did it or not. But I think we're finally getting a little bit closer. So let's just jump right in. So the latest was a hearing that was scheduled. Supposedly the hearing ended up getting continued, but then there was this tweet that went out in the middle of, not even the middle, before the hearing even concluded, that DNA was not found on the weapon in the MeganTheeStallion case, that allegedly no evidence of DNA was found on the weapon. A popular DJ Academics tweeted this. Now, I don't know if he's friends with Tory Lanez. He's sitting there right in the courtroom to have this information. He's not revealing how he has his sources, but he tweets this. And then, of course, MeganTheeStallion's like, court hasn't even really started yet. And I don't know why somebody would be tweeting something if court hasn't even started yet. Anything that's going to come out, it's going to be on the public record. And so she really comes after DJ Academics for tweeting this. And then there's some other journalists that kind of co-sign with her. I think one was from the Post and someone else was from the Rolling Stone, both saying, at first, there's been no DNA evidence discussed in this hearing. It was just a continuance. But then they I don't want to say retract, but then they later go on to say, okay, well, actually, Tory's lawyer said that in respect to the DNA evidence, the LAPD has actually given them an analysis of the DNA, and that they're just going to go and do their own, get their own expert to basically further confirm what they feel like is favorable based on what they've already read regarding the LAPD's analysis. They're saying the LAPD analysis is favorable. They're just going to get an expert to further confirm that. And so it appears that something was discussed regarding the DNA. And so DJ Academics comes back and see, I told you DNA was discussed. It's clearly, I've looked at something that says that it's inconclusive, which again, technically is not the same thing as saying that his fingerprints were not found. But, he kind of went back and said, listen, I'm still telling the truth. I'm looking at this with my own eyes. Again, I'm not sure how he's looking at anything, but this is what he's claiming. So he's doubling down. And so, of course, Tory Lanez finally chimes in and says, listen, I am being accused of this because essentially I was having sex with MeganTheeStallion, her friend. And even the text messages she has provided up to this point, where me saying I'm sorry, have been held out of context. She's making it seem as if I'm saying I'm sorry that I shot her, but it actually doesn't say that. It just says I'm sorry. And he's saying that sorry is referring to him sleeping with her friend. And that, Megan has now dug a hole that she can't get out of. And so as it relates to the text, this is what Tory is saying. He didn't speak too much on the DNA evidence. That was more or less something that the journalists and the DJ were going back and forth with Megan. But needless to say, it appears that there's just a lot of he said, she said in this case. And again, prosecutors have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And so if the LAP findings truly are inconclusive, and this is what his attorneys are basically saying is favorable to him because, again, they're inconclusive, then that means that it's not, beyond a reasonable doubt, even if Tory actually did it. And so it appears that he may in fact, just get off with the technicality, again, if there's not enough evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And so far, it sounds like, again, even if he did it, there just isn't evidence beyond a reasonable doubt outside of Megan's testimony that said that he did it, which, again, will be considered into evidence. So we will continue to follow this closely. I believe the next hearing is in April. That is the legal explanation up to this point in terms of the latest in the case. To follow stories like this, you can continue to follow us on our social media handles at Askcarterlaw or on our website, www.askcarterlaw.com.